What is up, everybody? I'm NoLuxGiven, and today we are wrapping up this trifecta of gold-related Storybook Brawl games to celebrate the channel being monetized with Goldilocks, a very, very powerful hero. And we are off to a pretty strong start this game as well. I pick up a Polywoggle and win the 50-50 here to get it to slay. That gives me a Romeo, which I then flip with this shard of the Ice Queen because we're not finding Juliet anytime soon. And then I cap off this turn with a roll after I pick up a Golden Chicken. And that is also really, really good on Goldilocks because it lets you hit some nice econ breakpoints once you hit those level up triggers. But also, beyond just playing Goldilocks, it's probably in the title and thumbnail of this video, we're going full bounty board in this one. Bounty board, an extremely powerful treasure, especially as a level 2 treasure, which just generates a ton of gold. I think it's comparable to Holy Grail for most people because it can just generate an incredible amount of gold, and we are going to take full advantage of it in this video. So this is a pretty exciting one. To wrap up 2.2, I'm going to pick up a Cinderella, and then I'm also going to pick up another Polywoggle, and I kind of feel justified in picking up another Polywoggle here because we are already so powerful from that first one. And I've talked about this a lot before, but on more powerful heroes, I feel more justified in picking up Polywoggles because your hero power is going to carry you, and then your Polywoggle can help carry you even further. So it's kind of the idea here, and we get a pretty nice reward here with Stag, which can definitely help the Polywoggle slay. And then I will also pick up this Wicked Witch, which will pump up the Mummy here. Not really super interested in the Darkwood Creeper. I could sell off the Golden Chicken to pick up the Creeper, though I just don't think that Darkwood Creeper is really where I want to be ever. However, I will lock onto this shop here. We'll have 6 gold next turn, and we'll be able to pick up the Mummy plus a Lucky, which I think is a really, really fantastic start to the game, and it just makes us very powerful overall. We're also pretty likely to slay with this Polywoggle here, and our Stag gets the first attack, which means Polywoggle is going to have the stats to grab us some slay here and grab us a tier 4 character. So we are really off to a fantastic start. This tier 4 character is going to be a Puff Puff, and we're actually too strong for our own good right now because I want to play Lucky, and if we're playing Lucky, I want to play that front line. I want to play Stag front line. I want to play both of these mummies in front of the Wicked Witch, which means we're actually backlining Puffy here, and we're pumping up Puffy with Stag. So kind of awkward in that regard, but I don't think it's worth like not playing the Stag or backlining the Lucky. I want to frontline the Lucky, and I want to frontline the Stag. I guess you could just backline the Stag here, just if you think that you're powerful enough that you're going to win anyways, and you want to prioritize getting +1/+1 on the Puff Puff, but I don't really think that that's necessary. I'm probably not going to play the Puff Puff forever, so I'm just going to backline that and use that to allow me to win the combat, and it actually is pretty dang close. So kudos to my opponent here, but we are able to get the win. We also get a slightly cheaper character in the shop in the form of that Tiny, and then we also get to pick up a tier 3 treasure here when we triple up on the Mummy. Sting, pretty good. Telltale Quiver is a good treasure that doesn't do anything for us right now. I think it's really between Sting and Eye of Ares, and I made great use of Eye of Ares in my 1,000 subscriber special, and I think since then, I've really been valuing Eye of Ares a lot. And even though it doesn't do anything crazy for us here, we don't really have crazy ways to take advantage of it, what we can do is just use it to tie a bunch of combats, and I think that's actually just enough and worth playing around here. I'm going to wind up selling off the Stag so that way I can cast the what is that called? True Love's Kiss this turn, and that gives me a Shoulder Fairies. But the important thing here, I guess, is like there's a few things that don't really, like Stag giving +3/+3 isn't really super important when everything has so much bonus attack. The +3 health isn't really going to go that far. I wind up picking up a pair of Chupacabras as well as a Sporko on 4.0, which is pretty good, and then I lock onto Friendly Spirit, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. I do wind up selling off the Tiny, so that way I can cast this Witch's Brew and tick down on Cindy a little bit. That's how we're going to get that bounty board, by the way. And then I guess I do unlock these Friendly Spirits. Okay, that's good. I thought that I locked onto that for a second, but same kind of thing with the Stag. I don't actually really care about the Friendly Spirit at this point in the game, as crazy as that sounds, just because we're not going to be able to have the bonus stats from this Friendly Spirit mean that much to me. Here's where I got confused. There's Friendly Spirits actually in those next two shops, but either way, don't really need those. Just gonna roll on past them and see what else we can find. We would like to find something in the way of tokens, ranged characters. Also, as you saw, we lost to that Amy. Ranged characters do work well with the Eye of Ares board, but I'm also like somewhat, I guess we'll, fire that off. That's pretty straightforward. The Queen of Hearts, not super needed either. I picked it up because we got it for cheap off of the Lucky, but it doesn't really do that much for us considering the opponent's characters are going to have bonus attack as well. So I don't really worry that much about my characters surviving and being strong enough. I'm just trying to tie as much combats as I can while getting bonus econ from Lucky, Ogre Princess, and we do have Mummy as a way to potentially win some combats as well as one ranged character, though Ancient Sarcophagus definitely totally owns me here, as I was just playing a bunch of characters with high attack and not much health. We wind up tripling the Chupacabra, and we're up against the Ghost here, so I don't really want to take Krampus's Sleigh, but Forking Rod is a pretty good treasure, especially this early on in the game, and I'm going to wind up picking that up here, and then I can double cast this Shrink Drink and basically just buy this whole shop, as well as flipping over my Cinderella. So this is what is going to give me the bounty board. I think that, you know, maybe we could have gone for Monster Manual here, but it's hard to pass up a bounty board. Like I said, the treasure is just so powerful. And then I'm going to finish off the turn by picking up this pair of Blind Mice and trying to do something with that. I don't worry about the Lucky. I do now decide to pick up a River Wish Mermaid now that we have got the bounty board. Like I said, if we are just trading a bunch of combats, just tying with our opponents, but we are getting econ at the same time, that can definitely build to a successful board. So that's kind of the whole idea that I'm playing around with on this one. And then next turn also will be our 5.0 turn. Unfortunately, up against the Ghost, they don't have anything for us to slay against. So that's pretty awkward, but we do get a pretty nice shop here. I'm eyeing up some interesting things. Aeon is pretty good with both the Forking Rod and the bounty board, so I'm definitely thinking about that. However, I think that the better options for us here are just the Robin Woods and the Lancelot. And I do wind up selling a few more things, thinking that I am potentially going to also be picking up this Aeon, but then I realize I don't really have the room for it ultimately. So not going to worry about that. I will pick up one more Robin Wood. I also think the pigs could be good with the Eye of Ares. Yeah, great point. That would also be a pretty strong character to pick up. There's a lot of stuff that we're interested in here, but ultimately just going to wind up picking up these three and then rolling down and trying to find some other stuff to combo with the rest of our board. We could cut the Mummy, though Mummy does actually work with the Eye of Ares pretty well, and then we're going to finish off this turn by locking onto Robin Wood. I'm going to cycle Darkwood. Actually, do I do this here? I guess we can. Yeah, I cycle Darkwood Creeper and then cast this Toil and Trouble and lock onto Robin Wood plus Baba Yaga. That could be pretty good for us. Toil and Trouble casts exclusively on the back line, which is pretty nice, and then Lancelot is going to get the Slay there. That is also pretty good. Chupacabra also gets the Slay. So we will have some bonus cash from the bounty board. That's always pretty good. I will take a little bit of damage though from Juliet, but it's fine. We get to pick up a tier 5 treasure here, and that is going to be Staff of the Old Toad. At this point, I toss the Forking Rod, or do I? I think I do toss Forking Rod here. I think that the main deciding factor is how close Lancelot is to activating because I have Eye of Ares. It's only one off right now, so it's worth hanging on to that Eye of Ares for another second just to try to get Lancelot active. And we could do it with a spell, but we could also just do it by picking up Sporko here, so that is ultimately what I'm going to go for. To finish off this turn, I will then also cast Reckless Wager and bet on myself a little bit. We're not super likely to win. Like I said, we're more likely to tie, though. Now we've got 4 ranged characters on the board in addition to the mummy, so our odds definitely go up with each ranged character that we add here, making pretty good use of this Eye of Ares. My opponent's Lightning Dragon takes out one of the Sporkos. Luckily, it attacks into the one that we pump up with Robin Wood, and then Siren is going to steal both of my Lancelots there, but we actually still have enough to get it done, win the Reckless Wager, and now we're grabbing a tier 5 treasure. We can grab Horn of Olympus. That one is pretty straightforward. Pick up another Baba Yaga too to add to this board. I don't think we need another Sporko. We're just going to run this as our backline supports and basically just look for Jormungand next turn. That's the whole idea here. We can fire off these magic beans if we want to, but we don't necessarily have to. There could be some other strong spells that we could cast this turn. So wind up not going for the magic beans. I think that maybe I should have, though. And then I just wind up rolling down and locking onto a Baba Yaga. And the one thing that I do here is I decide to use a True Love's Kiss on my upgraded Robin Wood. I know that Robin Wood is strong right now, but ultimately won't make our comp basically starting next turn, when we're going to most likely find a Jormungand off the level up trigger from Goldilocks. So I figured it was okay to just use True Love's Kiss on. Maybe we get lucky. Even if we get unlucky here with Lordy, which is about as unlucky as you can get, think we're still going to be okay this turn. At least I don't think that we'll die, and we're going to make a ton of bonus cash from this bounty board. Now, this combat actually gets super, super close, and we almost die here. We go down to 1. Very, very scary. However, we've got some bonus gold now, and we're going to be able to do some nice work here. Hand of Midas, always cool with Goldilocks, but we can't pass up Evil Eye plus Horn plus Bounty Board. So we'll pick that up, and then we'll roll, try to find that Jormungand, but instead, we are going to find a triple of Boomhildas, as well as an Empress P. So I can sell off one of the things from my hand and pick up 2 of these characters here. I can also cast the Genie's Wish, that's basically free, and maybe I could have hit the like a Shrink Drink or a Roll the Die or something. Would have been horrible to grab a free roll there. I think that happened in yesterday's video, but either way, always worth going for there. There's only one free roll in there to potentially troll you, though I guess that could have given us Forbidden Fruit too. Okay, that might have been terrible to go for then. But either way, we get the Slay with Empress P. That's pretty sweet. And that's going to give us a bunch of stats here. And then we'll also get in with the Chupacabra. And our ranged characters are quite big from the Empress P now. So we should be able to win this combat and really start to take control of the game. We're going to have a ton of extra cash from the bounty board here. I'm going to triple up on the Boomhilda. We could take Phoenix Feather. Honestly, probably should have. You don't really need to make use of the bounty board too many times to really win the game with it. We've got plus 40 gold this turn, and we could probably turn that into a win regardless here. I am going to pick up another Baba Yaga in replacement of this Boomhilda because I think that just a Baba Yaga will be enough stats. So maybe I shouldn't have even messed around with the Boomhildas like at all, and I should have just started to roll already for Jormungand basically, which is the main thing that we need here. But I am going to wind up finding the Jormungand. I'll pick that up right now, and then I think about just playing 2 River Wish Mermaids before just deciding, you know what, I'm just going to play 1 upgraded River Wish Mermaid, and that's fine enough for me. I take Krampus's Slay and I try to replace the bounty board. However, I don't get it off in time, and that just means we've got 1 more turn to really make use of the bounty board and go a little bit crazy with it, as we definitely would have been able to win here and steal a treasure. Could have stolen Bad Moon. It's fine. We will just make do with having a ton more gold this turn. We're going to have a pretty crazy amount here. I think we're at like 100 gold extra from this combat. Okay, yeah, like 84 gold here, so an extra 72 gold, kind of crazy. At this point, I'm just going to skip on the Krampus's sleigh, and I am going to pick up a lightning dragon here. That could be pretty good. Our lance has failed to slay several times now. You can see that it's only a 21-21, not even at 25 stats. So kind of embarrassing for Lancelot. Just going to wind up benching that in favor of Lightning Dragon, which I think ultimately will scale faster and just be more consistent for us. I'll also pick up another Jormungand, and then I'm going to wind up using Knighthood on one of the Jormungands that I have here, and it's, you know, I could see that going either way too. I could have just looked for the triple on Jormungand, and then I find the Empress P, but I just don't barely have enough time to actually put it onto the board. So a little bit awkward there, but it is nice. Our existing Empress P is able to get the sleigh, so that's going to get really big for us, and then Chupacabra also gets the sleigh. So still a pretty incredible board. Didn't even wind up playing the Lightning Dragon that we picked up because now we've got double Jormungand, so it felt like this was a strong enough front line to our comp, and it's going to be strong enough to take Sharon out here and move us into the finals at 1 HP. Pretty nice stuff. Now we are up against Muerte, and we're just looking for an Empress P or a Baba Yaga. Those would all be pretty great things. And I'm not really going to worry about the Hand of Midas here either, because the main thing that I'm looking for to complete this board is just another Empress P. I wind up making a small mistake here, I believe, as I wind up, well, we'll triple a Golden Chicken. It could find us Hermes Sandals. That would be pretty good. And then I do wind up picking up another River Wish Mermaid. That I think is actually good. That's more sleighs, so that's a welcome addition to the board. But there was an Evil Twin that I just rolled past. You might have even missed it right at the very end, right no, right now. There we go. Blink and you miss it kind of thing, as I'm basically you're holy grailing every turn when you are doing this. And then I am going to wind up tripling up on the River Wish Mermaids, which basically all that does is allows you to deal a little bit more damage with your backline. Not that that's even super necessary. Any one of my characters surviving will be enough to take my opponent out here. So let's see if we are able to do it. I mean, our River Wish Mermaid is going to slay. That's going to send our Baba Yagas to not Baba Yagas, our Jormungand's to crazy numbers. Chupacabra also going to slay and stick around. So pretty crazy powerful board here. We're not actually even going to lose a single character on this final fight as we take out this Muerte. And there you go. There's the power of Goldilocks, the power of Bounty Board as well. And what's kind of crazy, this game actually got me Mythic for the month of January. I've been sitting on some of these games for a while now, just as I kind of wasn't putting out that much content in January and February, and stockpiling on some of my better games. But yeah, I kind of totally forgot about that until I watched this clip back earlier. But there we go. I'm Mythic for the month of January as we are about to head into March here. But for today, that is going to be it for me. So thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lex Given. Peace.